Blog Talk Radio.
There's a mystery lurking the forested areas of the world. Many have seen something, but what is it? Are they seeing known animals? They claim they walk upright, like a human. There are so many eyewitnesses. Can they all be wrong? Is someone just playing a trick on people? Or is it possible a large bipedal being could exist in the forests of the world? You have a decision to make. Do you believe it exists? These are the topics we discuss on Sasquatch Watch Radio. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is April 23rd, 2013. We've got a great show scheduled for tonight. And before we bring our guests on, first and foremost, I figure we will bring in the one and the only Creature Seeker. What's going on, Creature Seeker? He's not answering. He's done went somewhere. Are you there, Creature? Now I hear you.
All right, great. I was muted for some reason.
I was trying to figure out why you wasn't coming on because I had a red microphone over here. I was like, wow, I guess he just don't want to talk tonight.
Well, Billy, I'm ready for another great show. Who we got?
Well, who we got tonight is we got Brian and Terry Seech. They're going to talk to us tonight about a great event that's coming up, the 6th Annual Butler, Pennsylvania Paranormal Conference. How are y'all doing tonight, Brian and Terry?
Hey, Brian and
Terry.
Doing great.
We're doing great. Hi, guys.
Hey, Billy. I guess we can. There's always next week for that great show I was talking about.
Thanks, Bruce. Hey, I'll settle for mediocre at this point, guys, okay?
Yeah, so you guys got I understand this is your 6th event. It's coming up this weekend on April 27th. Tell us a little bit about it, Brian. When y'all started this thing, just tell us kind of what got this thing started.
Well, before I say that, hey, Bruce, don't feel bad about being muted. I've been married 28 years, so I've been muted for 28 years. I think neutered also, so just so you know. Well, yeah, this will be our 6th year. A gentleman by the name of Dan Hagman, he is in charge of a group called Boru, and he's the one that's actually sponsoring the event. Our group Q co-sponsors. Dan Hagman is in charge of the group is called Boru, and they're the Butler organization for the research of the unexplained. They used to be the Butler UFO group, and they changed names. I guess it was about like 7 or 8 years ago. And we start going up. Yes.
So the name of it is called Boru?
Yeah, Boru.
Is that any relation to Eric Altman's show, Boring?
You notice how he says that because Eric's not on the show right now.
He isn't?
But he listens to the archives on the way to work in the morning, so I'm sure you'll get a call.
Oh, my God. All right. I'm kidding, Eric.
We know Eric's out there listening. Tell him, Eric.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Brian. Go ahead.
But yeah, so we start going up there. What, about 7 or 8 years ago? We finally met Dan, and we were helping a group down in Beaver County do a couple of Beaver County paranormal shows, and so we went up to Dan's. And we said, "Hey, Dan, why don't we do a paranormal conference in Butler? Because Butler is a very hotbed of UFO activity, Bigfoot activity, strange bird sightings. Butler is a very strange and unique area. So we decided to get a conference together, and we've been lucky with the support of great speakers. We've had Eric Altman on. We've had John Ventry, Stan Gordon, Rosemary Ellen Guiley, Peter Robbins. We've had a lot of great guests come and speak at these conferences. So, and it's been going on for 6 years. That's a testament to all the people involved. Normally, a lot of these don't last as long as they do. So, we're pretty proud of it.
Well, sounds like you're doing something right.
I went to the event last year, Brian, and it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah. Shame you can't make it this year. I know you're going to how do you say it? Chautauqua Conference, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, or else you probably would have been there. So, yeah, we enjoyed having you last year, Bruce.
Yeah, what was the name of that steakhouse that we ate at?
What was the name of that house? Oh, I forget offhand. That was in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go back there.
You know what, Brian? That comment right there just blew the whole thing out of the water. The only reason he came to spend time with you, Brian, was to go to a steakhouse, and that's a shame, Bruce.
Really, that's not true. That's true. I actually went down there because they've got a great breakfast place too.
Let me guess. They probably serve steak and eggs.
You got it.
Bruce, they should call you the restaurant seeker, not the creature seeker.
So, Brian, who do you have lined up for this year's conference?
Okay, I'm going to let Terry talk about the lineup real quick because Terry just inherited my MC job, which I've done for the last 5 years. So, if you don't mind, I want to give her a little bit of practice because she's kind of nervous. She's going to be talking in front of everybody. So, here's Terry's on.
Hi, guys. Yeah, Brian decided he's retired from that job. After 5 years, I guess it's done him in.
I'm still doing the raffles at the end. That's the important thing.
So is this voluntary or involuntary?
More involuntary.
Yeah.
See, Brian, I knew those complaints would catch up to you.
So you want to hear about the 5 speakers that we're having on the Saturday?
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
Hear.
Well, our first speaker starts at 11 a.m., and it's Reverend Robin Slope from Erie, Pennsylvania. He's also known as the paranormal pastor.
Yep.
And he's going to talk about the Slender Man, and he wrote a book about it.
Now, here's an interesting thing, Terry. I saw the paranormal pastor in Erie, Pennsylvania, at another event, and he sold me a bottle of holy water for like $5. and I found out I could get it for free down at the local church. So I think I want my money back.
This was blessed holy water, double blessed.
Right.
All right. Well, for $5, it should be blessed by the new Pope.
I'm sure all proceeds go to the church.
I'm kidding. You know, he's a fun guy. He's a great guy. I like hanging out with him. He's got some stories, though, Brian.
I don't know.
What'd you say, Bruce?
I said he's got some pretty hair-raising stories. So if you ever get a chance, go ahead.
Yeah, he was a missionary too, and he told some pretty weird tales of over in Africa and things like that. And his new book on the Slender Man, Terry will talk about.
Cool.
Cool.
I was going to talk about the second speaker.
Yeah, y'all quit interrupting Terry.
Yeah. Well, give her a chance, everyone.
Are you even going to BS with Brian?
All right, go ahead, Terry. I'm sorry.
Our second speaker is from the Pittsburgh area, from Murraysville. Her name's Allison Cruz. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's done a lot of video recordings on her property of UFO sightings, and she has lots and lots of footage on YouTube under Seeing UFOs PA and More Seeing UFOs PA. And she's going to be talking about all her experiences and sightings that she's had.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. And our third speaker is also a Pittsburgh native. He's an author, Craig Hines. He's the artist and owner of Numina Media Arts, and he wrote a book, Gateway of the Gods. His talk, he'll be presenting critical thinking about the paranormal. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be about, but I find it very interesting, and I can't wait to hear him.
Yeah, that should
cool.
be interesting.
And our fourth speaker, I think everybody knows, Dan Gordon from Greensburg, PA.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Dan.
We consider him the grandfather of UFO and Bigfooting in Pennsylvania.
Is that because he's so old?
No, he's been doing it a long time. No, I'm not calling him old.
Terry,
he's been in the field 50-plus years.
Terry, I was talking to Stan at Cabela's, and he was telling me some, UFO stories like that happened during the Civil War. So he's got to be up there.
I don't think it's going that far. He started when he was 10.
I do have to say I watched the show he was in on Destination Channel. I think it was over the weekend? It came on one evening at 9:00. He was on the Kecksburg thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's his baby.
Yep, I watched that, and it was pretty good. I liked it.
Well, Saturday he'll be presenting. His talk is going to be Close Range Mysterious Encounters of the Weird Kind.
Oh, wow.
The only kind there is.
Cool.
Well, that's so. What do you Close Encounters of the Weird? So he's been pretty close to Bruce. So.
Yeah.
Apparently. Thank you. I was going to say that. The paranormal pastor's book about the Slender Man, he definitely isn't talking about Billy.
Well, that's because Bruce, all them steakhouses you take me to.
I'm sure I was twisting your arm, Billy.
Hey, Bruce, actually, Stan's the Close Encounters of the Weird Kind. Close Range Encounters of the Weird Kind. It's actually about your eating habits.
Oh boy, this is thick old Bruce tonight.
And we have one more speaker for that day. Our fifth speaker is Doug Waller of Norwich, Ohio.
Doug Waller?
And he runs,
Wow.
And he runs the Southeastern Ohio Society for Bigfoot Investigations. So he'll be talking about Bigfoot in Ohio. And he comes on at 3 o'clock.
He's a pretty funny speaker. I'm sure his presentation will be great.
I'm sure it will, too.
Yes, I liked your Martin and Lewis comedy routine, The Creature Weekend, last year. I thought it was great.
I hope to not have another repeat of that, Brian.
There, Bruce, that was priceless. I wish I could have taped that. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, along with the speakers, we're going to be having raffles and door prizes. There's going to be 20-plus vendors, book signings, all kinds of fun stuff.
So how late do you think this thing will go, Terry?
Well, it's scheduled from 10 to 7:30. 10 to 7:30.
Sounds like a full day. Now speaking of
It is a full
UFOs,
day.
do you guys remember Bill Konkolewski?
Yes.
Yes, he spoke last year.
Yeah.
Last year at our conference.
So Bill Konkolewski, he's actually coming out to Preacher Weekend. So
for
for those of you who don't know Bill, he wrote a book on alien abduction. I guess he has some firsthand knowledge of that. He's a really nice guy.
So does he have a vendor table then?
What's that?
Does he have a vendor table at yours?
Well, you're going to have to come and see, Brian.
Well, we'll be there, Bruce. We will be there, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce.
We paid for a table.
Hey, Bruce, we got a comment in the chat room says that they're wondering if we could please speak in English so they can understand us.
Wow, who said that, Billy?
I don't know. Never seen.
He's not speaking English.
I told them that I only speak redneck.
So, Brian, what are you going to have for beverages at this event? Are you going to have some? Are you going to have some alcohol?
Water, coffee. No booze. No booze.
Well, last year you were passing around the Mad Dog, so I'm wondering if you're going to do that again.
If so, we didn't get any.
I was going to say, who had that? They passed me up.
I wasn't aware that Butler was a hotbed of paranormal activity. I didn't know that. What is the strangest thing that's happened down in Butler, Brian, besides your conference?
Yeah, Butler, there's actually a huge lake there, Moraine State Park. There's been a lot of there's been Bigfoot sightings around the park. There's been UFO sightings over the park. Ghost sightings, there's a couple cemeteries there. We actually had a winged entity sighting from a guy in 2006 on a bridge over Moraine State Park. So, yeah, there's been a lot of weird things happen in the whole county, and a lot of it centers around the park, Moraine State Park.
But that park it's not a very large park, right?
No, it's pretty big. It's a pretty big park. The lake is called Lake Arthur. It is.
Right.
It is.
That park has got like 4 swing sets in it. That's pretty much the extent of the park.
Oh, the park. The park is. It's not huge, but the lake and everything surrounding it is huge. There's a lot of area there.
Well, what was the winged entity sighting that you spoke of?
That was on 528 Bridge. This happened. It was about 1 in the morning. A gentleman was driving over the bridge, and he saw about a 4-foot black winged entity. He claimed it almost looked like he called it the Jersey Devil, but he kind of said looked like a huge bat, but it was about 4 feet tall. And as he was getting close to it, it jumped up on the railing. It jumped straight. It jumped down, and then he saw it fly up in the air and disappear. So, wow.
Brian, how long have you and Terry been doing the paranormal research?
Too long, Bruce.
Since probably 1986.
1986 when we formed.
1987.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
When we formed Q, Center for Unexplained Events.
And during that time, have you ever investigated a sighting or an encounter that you feel warranted further investigation, but there's just there's no follow up with it? In other words, like it was a pretty big sighting or encounter, but you just had no way to follow up with it.
Well, actually, this would be 2011 now. The winged entity sightings in Chicora, PA. Stan Gordon got the first one, and Dan Hagman got 3 subsequent sightings of a winged entity that looked more like a gargoyle, believe it or not. And several of the people said, hey, this thing looks like it was from hell. They were scared. One of them was a huge biker that he won't even go out at night anymore around that area. We were supposed to do, Eric was actually supposed to come with us on one of the ones, but it ended up raining really bad that night, so we were going to use his thermal and go out there, him and Dan and Terry, but the weather just didn't cooperate, so we never did make it out there. But I would like to go back up there and take a team. There's a huge cave up around that area across the Clarion River, across East Brady. So we have not made that up there yet, but that's hopefully on the books. We can do that.
Now you've also started the Center for Cryptozoological Research. Is that it? Is that right?
Studies, cryptozoological studies. Yeah. Studies.
So
started
can you talk a little bit
ago.
about that organization?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. We started that about a year ago.
You did.
Yeah. I guess I did.
He broke away from me.
No. We still have Q. We still have Q. You there, Bruce?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I wanted to start the Center for Cryptozoological Studies because I didn't feel under the Q banner type thing we were getting the creature reports that we should have. So we still research UFOs and ghosts and all other anomalous.
Everything else in the unexplained.
Everything else in the unexplained underneath Q. But I took all any creature reports that we were trying to get and moved them over into CCS, maybe to try to get some more reports. It's not working very well, but we are trying. We are speaking. I got to give a shout out to Fred Saluga. He's really pushing. We're going into Ohio and West Virginia, and we're starting to speak more at libraries and things like that to get the word out. I spoke at his class last night. Fred's teaching a UFO class for the second year down in Eastern Gateway Community College, and we're trying to put the finishing touches on doing the first, I guess it's going to be the first cryptozoological program ever in the state of Ohio, and I'm not sure about that, but we're trying to set that up for September.
Cool. Can you explain that program a little bit, Brian?
Yeah, well, it's basically going to be just a non-credit course learning about cryptozoology, learning about the different types of cryptid animals out there, not just Bigfoot, things like Mothman, Dogman, some supposedly living dinosaurs, things like that, Thunderbirds. We're putting the finishing touches on, seeing if there's going to be an interest in it. I know that right now, if we would do a Bigfoot only class, we'd probably get a bunch of people, but we want to do a class on all the cryptids.
And are you taking new members for your Center for Cryptozoological Studies? Yeah.
That is going to be basically like an open invitation. If anybody is interested, in the group, they can contact us. We're trying to look to put people in different states, like mainly Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia, but we do want to get some people in some other states. And it is going to be like a loose-knit group. When we get sightings, if we have people in the area, we're going to shoot it to them so they can research it. Or obviously, if we get them anything close to us, we'd like to do it. I just think that there's not that many people out there actually doing total cryptozoological research. There's a ton of Bigfoot groups out there, but there's nobody that's doing a lot of the different. Nobody will even touch, say, the Dogman phenomenon. Actually, one other researcher in Ohio, Jody Cook, and we do the research in Pennsylvania, and that's about it. Nobody even touches those reports.
And in your experience, Brian, why do you think that people are reluctant? People who study, Sasquatch, why are they reluctant to even talk about Dogman sightings?
Well, I think because let's face it, it's so unbelievable. I mean, you're talking about a creature that looks like I hate to say the word, typical werewolf on TV. It does stretch the boundaries of the imagination. But we have talked to witnesses. We've interviewed some witnesses who claim that's what they've seen. And the reaction that they give you, I mean, it's hard to, well, it's not hard to explain. It's almost the same thing if somebody says who wasn't a believer and they said they saw a Bigfoot. Billy, you've seen it, and Bruce, you've seen it. The reactions, the look in their face, the eye. Some of them have goosebumps up and down their arm. These people have seen something, and they don't know what it is. They've seen something that should not exist.
Yeah, it's definitely it's something, and I love running into a witness like that because, when you see reactions from people like that, it pretty much nails it home for you, that they've seen something.
Definitely.
And, it's just it's a good feeling to see that.
And it's almost like therapy for them too, because nobody else, who do you tell? Do you tell your family, hey, I just saw a giant wolf walk across the street, or hey, I have a giant ape looking through my window, or hey, there's a gigantic bird just flying over my house? Who are you going to tell that to that's not going to say, you're drunk or you're crazy?
Right. Yeah, that's very true. There has to be some place to give that kind of report to. I mean, we recently had an issue here in Virginia, down in Central Virginia, where a guy, I'm not going to go into huge detail, but the guy lost 4 of his dogs in the last 3 years, 2 of them just recently. And the guy was looking around for his dogs, and he runs across these footprints. And the first thing he did was, as soon as he saw the footprints, he didn't think Bigfoot wasn't even in his mind. He saw these footprints, and he just thought they were odd because of how far apart they were. So he made his first phone call was to the sheriff's department, because he thought somebody done got his dogs. So he calls the sheriff. Sheriff's department comes out. They look around, and they told him call animal control. As funny as that sounds, they told him call animal control. So he calls animal control. They blew him off. They told him call wildlife and game. He calls wildlife and game. They didn't even call him back. So he was like, well, what do I do here? So he called a relative of his. The relative came out, had a look at him, and he looked at him for a few minutes, and he goes, I think you better call somebody. So they called us. Then we went out there, of course, and make a long story short, we're talking about footprints that are 40 inches from heel to heel. The footprints are 13 inches long, or 4.5 inches wide. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, this happened in the wintertime. So who's walking in this cornfield 200 yards away from any major road? So it's not like somebody would be out there fooling around hoping somebody would see it, because it was in an area where nobody would normally be walking or driving. So, now that guy, again, see, he thought he was taking the proper channels. That's my point. He called the sheriff's department. He called animal control. He called wildlife and game. He called all the folks that you would think you would call. And then, of course, when he called me, he was comfortable saying what he now thought he had there.
Yes. And it is like a therapy for people. In anything from seeing a UFO to a ghost, or any other strange creature, most people aren't going to take them seriously, except, all the researchers in the field. And we all know a lot of them. And, I wish that a lot of them would get more credit from the mainstream mainstream public, because we're all out there trying to bust our ass. We're using our own money, our own time. All we're doing is trying to find out some proof, and we're all doing the same thing. And you catch a bunch of crap from everybody for doing it. I think we should be doing it.
Right. Brian, do you think that there's, I don't know what to call it. Do you think there's kind of a snobbery among Bigfoot groups toward, paranormal or cryptozoological groups?
Oh, there's a great divide, Bruce. And we can kind of speak from experience because we've been in all the fields and we do all the fields from paranormal research to UFOs to Bigfoot. And the ghost people, they laugh at the crypto people. The UFO people, they don't want to hear Bigfoot. The Bigfoot people don't even say UFO, for God's sake. And a lot of the Bigfoot people, it's like, we do Bigfoot only, which is fine, but a lot of them, and we've talked about this, Bruce, several times. They, a lot of the Bigfoot groups, they look down at anybody who researches anything other than Bigfoot. I mean, and Bruce, we've talked about this a lot. You don't have to, like or what anyone else does, but I don't think you should downgrade what somebody does. If somebody wants to, research, say, Dogman or another phenomenon. Hey, what's wrong with that? You don't have to sometimes I think it's it's almost like a moral superiority. Well, I do Bigfoot. This guy does Mothman. He's crazy,
Yeah. Well, I think last year we were at this restaurant in downtown Cambridge, and our group came in, and the hostess, we were just sort of chatting with her while we were waiting for our table. And, she said, "Oh, what are you guys, doing?" We said, we're with the Creature Weekend Conference. And, we got into the subject of Bigfoot, and she kind of laughed and said, I don't believe in Bigfoot, but I, believe in, aliens and UFOs. It's kind of like, you don't believe in Bigfoot, but you believe in aliens and UFOs, as if, you have the moral high ground,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Kind of amusing, actually.
Yeah, I just wish that as we've talked about before, Bruce, it just it sometimes it takes a lot of the the fun out of it, the fighting and the bickering and the politics. That's why I've always admired you, Billy. You do go to these conferences and things, but you do stay out of all that fighting and bickering and I respect the hell out of you for that, Bill.
Well, it used to get me worked up, and I'm going to use the word "used to get me worked up" because, after a little while, you start to learn a little bit about what these people feed on, and this is probably going to piss a lot of people off, Brian, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Some of these people feed on getting someone else worked up, and
yeah.
I'm not going to go through and name names. Probably the majority of the people here know exactly who I'm talking about, so I don't have to name names. But certain people just simply, they seem to feed off of getting other people worked up. And I finally learned that, this isn't doing either one of us any good. It would be a non-ending battle. You can never win a battle against somebody that does that. So the best thing to do is just ignore them.
Yeah.
And they'll go somewhere else and get someone else to feed off of them. So
yeah, life's too short to fight about Bigfoot and UFOs. I mean, let's be brutally honest about it. I mean,
that's
yeah,
exactly.
in my mind, Brian, fighting between, the Bigfoot people fighting with the UFO people is like the unicorn people fighting the leprechaun people. I mean, honestly, seriously, I think you have to respect a person's interest. And all right, so maybe you don't, it's not your bag. Well, that's fine, but that doesn't give you any moral high ground. So
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like I said, and we can speak from experience. We've had a lot of bad things especially with the couple ghost groups we were in. It just wow, it was probably some of the worst experiences with the ghost groups, and you hate to categorize it, but it's like they hey, we do parapsychology, so I've heard people call cryptozoology a pseudoscience. I guess if you're out there looking for a physical corpse and physical evidence, then I guess we're pseudoscience then.
Well, it's I look at it like this, and I've always said this. I keep an open mind. I believe that there are paranormal activities. Okay, I do believe in spirits. I do believe that there are things out there unknown. Okay, I've seen things firsthand in that as I was growing up as a teenager. I used to delve into that side, and when I say that side, I used to be involved in the occult. So I've seen things back then, and there are things that I never want to experience again, period. And I've told people many times, because everybody's like, well, you're out in the woods looking for this 8-foot hairy giant that can rip you limb from limb. You know what? I'd rather run into that thing than to run into some of the stuff that I can't see.
That's right, like demons and things like that. Oh yeah, there's some scary things in the ghost field too. At least if a creature or Bigfoot, you can see it. You should be able to see it coming or maybe run from it. The demon stuff's pretty scary, especially. The ghost thing, not as much. You can have some scary things happening with ghosts, but when you delve into, because we did one demon case, but it turned out to be the guy was just, we think, on a lot of hallucinatory drugs. But I was leery about even taking it. I'm like, wow, I don't want to go after demons. But the guy, somehow found our name, and we had to go investigate. And luckily, it was nothing, because if it was demonic activity, we would have called Pastor Robin Swope or somebody else that we know in. I wouldn't be able to be an exorcist to be able to get the demon out.
Well, exactly, and that is a dangerous thing to delve in, especially with the fact that, and I know that one of the people. It's really funny because back when I studied the Bible for 15 years, and when I considered myself, quote unquote, a religious person, we learned, even from the Bible, we learned that demonic possessions or demonic influences can attach themselves to items. And the first person I ever heard talk about that was John Zaffis.
Yes.
He's got that show, The Haunted Collector. When I first saw that show and I saw what he was doing, I was like, wow, finally somebody's talking about this. That you can actually have an evil entity that will attach itself to an object. And that was something that I learned, like I say, during my study of the Bible. And, to hear him come out with this, and, and I've watched quite a few of the episodes and everything. They're very interesting episodes. And, again, like I say, that's a dangerous thing. I mean, you go on an investigation and you take something from someone, you can take it home with you.
I agree. Well, Billy, I don't know if you know, but Bruce's safari jacket is cursed.
Oh, well, then he can keep his safari jacket at home.
Thanks, Brian. I hope the
and you did buy it at LL Bean. I used to work at LL Bean, so that's fine.
You used to work at LL Bean, Brian?
Yeah, up here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. That's a great company.
It is a very good company.
They make great stuff.
Kind of expensive, but really good stuff.
Yeah, well, they guarantee their stuff for life. If you ever have any problem with it, you can return it, and then they'll replace it. I mean, you can't get a better warranty than that.
You're right.
So,
but since we're on that subject though, Brian and Terry, have you guys ever done an investigation where you believe you had an evil entity or demon that you were dealing with?
Have we? I'm trying to think. No.
Yeah, but it turned out to be Dave Rupert.
Maybe. You know what? You might be on to something there, Bruce. Maybe that's why he walks around in circles.
He has been to the spirit world.
Well, yeah, but it's hard to walk in a straight line when your head is spinning around like Dave Rupert. So.
Ask him about Beaver Creek sometime, and we said, Dave, the creek's over there. Follow the creek, Dave.
Well, as you know, Brian, I went to Newcastle and participated in that Hillview Manor expedition.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And some really unexplainable things happened there. And, you know me, I'm very skeptical about things. And I went in there and, I actually have on videotape, we had a flashlight, and we turned the flashlight on just so it was barely on. It was one of those mag lights where you twist it on.
Mm-hmm.
So we turned it on and we put it in this room that was supposedly haunted by this woman who was a resident there, and we would ask questions, and we'd say, if the answer is yes, turn the light on. And every time we asked the question, the light would either go on or off. And then we switched it up. We said, okay, if the answer is no, turn the light on, and the light would go off. And then it would stay off. And we'd actually wait. We waited for the light to come back on, thinking, okay, it was maybe just something mechanical, battery's dying, whatever, it'll flicker. Nothing. And then 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes. No, it's not coming back on. So then, Dave's wife, Carrie, she asked another question and said, "Can you please turn the light on?" And the light would just come on. So how do you explain that? Can you say it was a flashlight? I asked Dave and Terry. They went home and they actually tried to reproduce that at their house on their table. And they could not get it to go on and off. And those batteries are fairly fresh because earlier that day I was at Radio Shack and purchased new batteries. So, how do you explain that? I'm not prepared to say that was a ghost or a demon, but it was definitely high strangeness.
Yeah, I'd like to see that tape sometime, Bruce. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I still have it. I like to think that I'm open-minded, Brian. I told Rupert right at the very beginning, look, I don't really believe in ghosts, but I'll bring an extra pair of underwear just in case,
Hey Bruce, I will say, out of everything that we've researched, to me, ghosts are the most real. I mean, to me, there's no doubt that they're a ghost. I've never really seen anything. We had an incident that happened up at the Robin Swope's church. Terry can tell you real quick about what she saw in our old house. You want to tell him real quick?
Here I am.
Yeah, man. Okay. Tell him real quick.
When Brian and I were first married and I was pregnant with Sean, we were renting out Brian's aunt's house. She became sick and had to move in with another relative and wasn't able to live on her own. This was February of 1986. She had passed away, and a couple weeks later, I had gotten up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I saw her, and I call it a transparency of his aunt because I could see right through her. She was walking through the house.
Wow.
And you sure it was her, Terry?
Yes, it was definitely his aunt.
And ironically, the people who own our house now, because we still go over there because my cousin lives next door and I cut her grass and help her out. They have had activity there. They actually have one picture that almost looks like that there's a face in a mirror, which is in the hallway, where Terry would have saw.
The face is not in the mirror. It's the face of a little boy on the bathroom door.
On the bathroom door, excuse me, and that's right where my aunt would have walked through. So it's interesting.
That is interesting.
Now, Brian, do you have any expeditions, for your Center for Cryptozoological Studies? Do you have any expeditions coming up or any get-togethers? And how can, if someone's interested in joining your group, how can they contact you?
Well, we have, as far as if anyone is interested in joining, they can email us at
Center for Crypto Studies at yahoo.com, or you can find me on Facebook under Terry Baychak Seech and send me a message.
And as far as anything coming up, we are trying to, for Q anyway, we're trying to get together something to go to Gettysburg sometime in June, because we have not done an investigation in Gettysburg. And as far as the crypto thing, we're still, we want to do some things up in Berlin Lake, which is in, I think, northeastern Ohio. There's the Ravenna Arsenal up there. Actually, you can't do it in the Ravenna Arsenal. Right across is West Branch State Park. Tim Stover does a lot of work up there. We're going to try to hook up with him to try to do that, and also still Beaver Creek. We still do expeditions in Beaver Creek, and we want to try to do this summer in another camp out there and try some different things. And Billy, you know about Beaver Creek because you had some instances down there when you were down there.
Yeah, Beaver Creek is actually an interesting place.
Why do you say that, Billy?
Well, it's where I found one of the most elaborate stick structures I've ever seen in my life. I went down there with some folks it's actually part of the BFRO, and I can tell you, it's an interesting area. The elaborate structure that I found, which I've never found one like that ever again anywhere. And I mean, we had a lot of activity out there as far as vocalizations and moving around. We went out there, it was me and Tom L. and D.B. Donlin, and there was a bunch of Courtney. A bunch of us went out there, and it's a very interesting place. I like Beaver Creek a lot. And I'll tell you another thing, they got some of the biggest raccoons I've ever seen in my life down there.
Billy, you seem to be
breaking up.
Breaking up, yeah.
Yeah, actually, looks like everybody's saying that they're losing sound, and I can barely hear you all too. So Blog Talk must be having some issues.
Billy, you sound right now like what Brian Seech sounds like after a couple of drinks.
And I don't even drink, Bruce.
I couldn't make that out. Anyone?
No.
We didn't hear him.
All right, are you still there, Bruce?
I'm still here, yeah.
Okay, I think I've lost Bruce. Yeah, Brian, Terry, you still there?
Yeah, we hear you good now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Brian?
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
Okay.
What happened to Billy?
I don't know.
It's the Men in Black. And they will be at our conference this year again. So.
Well, you two, you're also, the Center for Cryptozoological Studies is also having a table at Creature Weekend. So people who are interested in joining, they can also visit your table, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We're there. We want to try to get some reports. Also, I'll be having, for anybody who's interested from Ohio, we just put together, and I can get you get both you guys a copy if you're interested. An Ohio Bigfoot in the News CD. There is how many pages? 89. I think there's 89 articles. There's like 60 pages of older articles of Bigfoot in Ohio, and we just put that together less than a month ago for Doug's conference. So that'll be for sale there, and we're only charging $5 for it. So that'll be there for.
And Bruce, since you're our friend, we'll only charge you a low price of $5.
Wow, Terry, I'm touched by your generosity.
I thought you would be.
Hey, can we get the special Bruce Buddy Pass again?
Oh yeah, I'll give you a down pass.
Hey, and don't worry, we'll be helping you, Bruce. We'll be helping you guys and Dave and Carrie. Whatever you need, like Friday night and then Saturday and then Sunday. So tell us what you need us to do.
Well, there'll be a lot of things going on, so there'll be plenty to do. It's just going to be, I'm just looking forward to seeing you guys. Seeing the Ruperts. It's always a lot of fun and a lot of laughs, and I'm sure Preacher Weekend this year is going to be no different. We have people from as far away as like Chicago flying in for the conference, and for our second year, it's really been a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of the volunteers for working so hard and putting on such a great event. So, and
it is a great family event. We had a blast last year. That was awesome to meet Linda Godfrey too last year.
Yeah,
we're looking forward to it this year.
Linda Godfrey's a great lady. I had a lot of fun talking to her. I wasn't as well read on her research, but after talking to her and after listening to her, no, I was not. And after listening to her presentation during the conference last year, I was really, really impressed with her. She just has really good research methods and is very detailed, and her recording of the events is also very detailed. Mm-hmm. And I'm just really impressed with her research.
Mm-hmm.
So have you read up on her since then?
Well, I purchased, I think, every single book that she had. So I've not finished reading all of her books, but she has quite a few out there. Plus, I think she does some fiction as well.
Yes, she does.
Mm-hmm.
You watched her presentation, Brian. You also enjoyed it? What stood out for you?
Oh, she had an excellent presentation. Well, I don't know if you ever see me at these conferences, Bruce. I'm one of the very few. I take notes. I do. I take notes from the speaker. She talked a lot about like how these creatures are seen by crossroads a lot, which I never really knew, by water sources, and just like you said, detail, short, because you only have an hour, and although an hour seems like a lot, if you have a lot to say on a subject, you can fly by in an hour, and then you have to leave 10 or 15 minutes for questions and answers. And I just thought that she even added some things like from her book that I didn't even know. So I thought she did a fantastic job.
Yeah, she did a great job. And, this year, we have Pat Spain from the Beast Hunter National Geographic Channel show. We have David Paulides, who's going to be talking about, his work with the Missing 411 series.
I can't wait to hear him.
And people are just really excited to listen to him because he's been on Coast to Coast a few times, and he always draws a huge crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, Billy and Doug will be speaking at the conference. And last year, they both had a good time at my expense, as you remember, Brian.
Yep.
But it was a lot of fun.
And Bruce, what time are you going to sing Tiny Bubbles?
Oh, Brian. So I think the show's almost over. Well, so Brian, tell me, are you involved in putting this conference together and lining up the speakers? Are you, how are you?
Yeah.
Are you one of the organizers, or?
Yeah, we are.
What is your role?
We're the co-sponsors, so we do a lot.
We contact the speakers to get them lined up. We try to collect different raffles and gifts for the giveaways and the drawings.
We try to get advertising out, and when we speak, we talk about it, and then we help the day of the event. And Dan does, Dan Hagman, he busts his butt up there. He runs ragged up in Butler to get the word out, putting it in newspapers, and he's on the radio up there. I mean, he's literally exhausted.
Today he was out doing putting flyers out.
Yeah, I mean, Dan is Dan would be great to have on your show if you could ever get him on the show. Nobody can give a story or tell a story like Dan. I mean, Dan's just, he's excellent. He'll leave you memorized.
I met Dan last year. He seems like a really fun guy.
Oh, he is.
He is. Hey, can I let everybody know where the conference is going to take place at before we get off?
That would be a good thing, Terry.
Yeah, I think so. This Saturday, April 27th, at the Tanglewood Senior Center in Glendora, PA. It's on 10 Austin Avenue.
Is that where it was last year, Terry?
Yeah, it's the same place in the last 5 years.
Okay.
And the event's going to run from 10 o'clock in the morning until 7:30 at night. Admission at the door is $10. If you bring a donation of a non-perishable food item to donate to our Greater Pittsburgh Area Food Bank, you can get $1 off and only pay $9 to get in the door to hear 5 speakers.
And you get a ticket, too.
And you get a raffle ticket with that also.
Well, speaking of which, Terry, I have a complaint because, it was my understanding that if we brought some food that we could get a discount on our tickets, but they wouldn't accept my half a bag of Oreo cookies last year. So
did Brian get all his cookies?
It was a full bag when I started out on my drive, but it was a long drive, so.
They were gone by the time you got there, huh?
Well, I had a half a bag left, so I was really disappointed that they wouldn't accept that. I had to pay the full boat. What's that?
You sure Brian didn't accept those? He would have taken a half a bag of Oreos.
Even though I'm diabetic, Bruce, and I shouldn't be eating them.
Brian, you're not. You think you're fat?
No, I said I'm diabetic.
Oh well, I'm fat. I totally admit it.
At least you're not diabetic, Bruce.
You know what? I tell people, Brian, I'm built for comfort, not speed.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, are you going to have? Well, obviously you're going to do a conference next year, and does this Tanglewood Senior Center, the place that you've had the last 5 years, do you like that venue? Do you think your conference is getting too big? You had a lot of people there last year. Are you looking for another venue?
Not at this time. I think we could still accommodate. I don't think we've had it completely filled up yet. So we're looking to get it filled up.
It holds 300 apparently.
Well, it was quite full last year. I remember.
Well, I think the count was just under 200.
Yeah, I think we had about 180.
You had some ghost speaker, and at that point, I remember looking across the room, and there were a lot of it. Almost every chair was filled. So I don't know how many chairs you put out, but it was pretty packed.
Oh yeah, that was John Sable, the ghost excavator. Yeah.
No, his presentation was kind of, it was a little bit not what you would expect. He really talked about interacting with the ghosts, but in a way that was familiar to them. So he was saying something about, when he was trying to interact with these ghosts from, the Civil War, that he had to actually speak in terms that they would understand. Am I close on that?
Yeah, he actually believes in kind of almost like a role play type with the ghosts. That he wants to interact with them.
You can peel back the layers.
Peel back the layers. That's
archaeology, where you're digging deeper and deeper.
Yeah, I think he called it contextual, is the word that he used, but it was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'd never really heard of that before.
Yeah, we had heard him the year before up in Sharon. There was a conference in Sharon, and we heard him, and that's why I wanted to get him to ours. So, yeah, John's pretty good. John's very passionate about what he does. He, even in his presentation, you can just feel the energy coming from him. He does a great job.
Now, Brian, when you put this together, do do you, in your mind, have a set number of speakers to represent different, parts of the paranormal research? Like, you want at least one UFO speaker, one ghost speaker, a Bigfoot speaker?
Yes, definitely, because it's a paranormal conference, so we always try to get
variety.
Yeah, we want to always try to get a variety. Last year was kind of heavy on the UFOs, so this year we kind of trying to balance it a little bit better. I always want to try to get some kind of cryptid speaker in there. We've had Rosemary and Galley who spoke one year on the shadow people. We've had everybody from energy therapists to guys named Robert Schwartz who was talking about your soul's plan. I mean, we do try to really split it out and try to get a lot of different. We have a lot of good ideas for next year. One of our people who we already booked for next year will be Patty Wilson. She spoke a couple years at our conference, so I think she's going to be our first speaker for next year.
That would be really interesting.
Getting you up there too, Billy, 1 year.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Brian?
Oh, I said we wouldn't mind getting you up there 1 year, Billy.
Yeah, I bet you he would do it. I don't know. The scheduling this year with Chautauqua was just really weird. Last year it was actually the following weekend, and we had to sort of work something out because Preacher Weekend was also that weekend. But I think Chautauqua is actually going to be a lot of fun as well. So
this is the latest we've ever had this conference. Normally it's the first or second week in April, but they already had some things booked. So this was basically I think the earliest week we get in, and because of Easter too. So this was the latest we've ever had it. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's better or worse.
I'm sure it'd be great, Brian.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Hi, Billy.
Yeah, I tell you what. Well, the live show's already over, but it's I don't know what happened. The darn switchboard went down. I can't even get on the switchboard. I can't see it, so I can't even end the show.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been trying to log into the studio. Finally, I just picked up my home phone and called in, and it worked. So it's I don't know. It's just so weird. I think we're going to have to find us a new venue there, Bruce.
Yeah, you may be right, Billy.
But like I was telling Bruce, Billy, we wouldn't mind getting you 1 year up here for a speaker either.
Well, I'd be interested in doing that.
And like I was telling Bruce, normally it's the first or second week of April. It's pretty late this year because of scheduling conflicts. Normally it's the first or second week of April.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in doing that.
I think a lot of people will be interested in hearing you. I know that.
Well, I don't know about that, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, you did a good presentation, Bill.
Every time I try to log into that stupid studio, it says web page is not available. Good Lord, how am I going to turn the show off? Maybe when everybody hangs up, it'll just go away.
Billy, what you should do is you should play a song on that endless loop and just put the song.
I wish I could. I can't get to that to even do it. There for a few minutes, I thought I was going to have to hit the cricket sound.
You have to break out your old LPs, Billy. I think you have Captain and Tennille, Muskrat Love or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid that it's not even going to archive the show because if I can't get into the studio so that I can go in there and end the show, I don't know what's going to happen with it. So that's weird. That's the first time it's ever happened quite like this. But
again, it's the Men in Black.
It must be what it is. They came in here to sabotage your show. I do have to say though, we did have some. We did have a few new faces in the chat room. So.
Yeah, it's a shame that they probably won't come back, Billy.
You can apologize for us next week, Billy.
Oh boy, I just got the studio came back. Finally. Oh well, that's good. So now maybe I can at least, cause that way if I end the show, at least it'll go to the archive. So that's what I was worried about. So, all right. Well, sorry I missed 15 minutes of the show.
It's okay, Billy.
We didn't talk about you that bad.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, that's okay. Eric will call me and tell me.
Does he actually listen to the show, Billy?
Yeah, that's what he does when he goes to work in the mornings.
Oh, boy.
He listens to the archive shows. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's going to hear what you said, so. Don't be surprised if you don't get a call early in the morning when he's on his way to work.
How is I supposed to know he actually listens to the show?
He listens to all the archives. You'll be in trouble.
It's all in good fun, Billy.
I know that.
You got to have fun.
You got to have fun. I think we've come to the end of the show, Billy.
Yep, I think we have. So y'all did end up announcing where the conference is, correct?
Well, finally.
Okay. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, did they even say where it was?
She better not screw up as an announcer like this. That's all I got to say.
I'll just sit down and let you take over.
All right. Well, I guess we've exhausted this one. So, hopefully, y'all have a big crowd that shows up out there. I'm sure you will. This is the 6th year. I'm sure you're gonna have quite a crowd out there. So.
It was crowded last year, Billy.
What's that?
It was crowded last year at their.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're in their 6th year. I'm sure they're going to have a fairly good sized crowd there. So.
Yeah.
So good luck on the event, guys. And yeah, definitely. I'd be more than happy to come up and join in with you guys one of these years.
Yeah, that'd be great. Bill, you better get permission from your wife first before you make any commitments.
Oh, I'll be okay. She likes Brian and Terry, so.
She does?
Yeah.
Has she ever?
It's the events that I do with you, Bruce, that I have to do a lot of convincing.
He's such a bad influence.
I know. I'm the bad seed.
Bad seed from Boston.
Yeah.
Well. Okay, guys.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Brian and Terry. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having us.
Great. It was fun. Anytime, Billy. I appreciate it.
All right. And we'll see everyone next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Next week, we're going to do a Creature Weekend teaser show. So that's what we will be doing next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Hopefully here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, but you never know. So good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Terry.
All right, we'll see you guys. See you, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Remember to join us again next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate every one of our listeners. Thank you so much for being here. You're listening to Sasquatch Watch Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network.